Hello, friends, and welcome. Welcome to the stream. Hey, hello, everybody. Good to have you all here. Everyone can see me and hear me. Everyone can hear the music. Awesome. Sorry I'm a little bit late. Yeah, it's just setting up stream problems and doing my makeup and so on. But it's great to be here. It's great to be here. All right. Well, welcome along, everybody. If this is your first time coming to one of the live streams, then welcome, first of all. It's fantastic to have you here. And the way we like to do things on these streams is we like to keep things chill. We like to keep things relaxed. We like it when the chat is like a positive and happy, chill place. We like to have a little bit of music. And yeah, whatever bad things might have happened in the world during the day, we like to just have a bit of a nice, relaxing time. And we also like to start by lighting a candle, which I will do for you now. There it is. Welcome, everyone. I'm just going to put that somewhere where I can set my hand on fire later. I can see the chat. I can see you all. Hi, everybody. Hello. Good to have you here. And again, if it's your first time, as well as things being relaxing and cool, we like to go through the feedback from the last episode that we got. And I like to sometimes go through some of the comments. And if there are any super chats over the course of the night, I will do my best to read them out. But we do have quite a few comments to get through tonight. So if you were planning on super chatting, might be a good idea to save it for a little bit later on and maximise the chances of me seeing it. Because I like to do my my notes to self. Like, what would I have done differently if I were to do the video again with infinite time and money? And what would I have done differently just based on the feedback that it's gotten? But yeah, it's good to have you all here. Yes, Fabio, I did get a haircut recently, and I had to shave my beard short as well because I had an audition. The other day in which I was playing a soldier, so I needed to be a little bit neat. They wanted somebody to do rifle drill with a giant chocolate bar, so that was me. So yeah, as I said, whatever bad things have happened during the day, we like to keep things cool. I'm actually celebrating tonight because I got some really good news about an hour ago. Actually, between announcing the stream and beginning, I got some really nice news in my life. My legal name change has finally come through. So, hey, just got my brand new passport. I haven't had a drink at all actually for a long time, and yeah, because I'm trying to lose a bit of body fat at the moment for reasons that you'll see in the next video. So I haven't had a drink in a while, but I thought tonight, as it's a celebration, might just have a little bit, because I'm now officially me. I've got my passport, my driver's license, and tomorrow I need to sit down and email like my bank and all the rest of it. So yeah, and appropriately enough, the bottle is from New Zealand. So we'll start with that. I don't want to get too far gone. Not like the forbidden stream. Well, cheers anyway to all of you, and cheers to New Zealand as well. That is pretty nice. Nothing too fancy. Okay. So, as I said, thank you to the people who are sending in super chats. We do have a few notes to self to get through, so if you were planning, maybe want to save them for later on, but thanks to everyone who's already who's already jumped in. So maybe let's go ahead and just jump right in. So the last video I did was called Brexit, What is Democracy? And it's kind of about Brexit, kind of about like what is democracy generally, using Brexit as a jumping off point to think about democracy. And there were a few notes to self that I had, which I can now, through the magic of streaming, I can show you. So, first of all, I want to say right at the top, I used a word which I probably shouldn't have used, or definitely shouldn't have used in that particular... Oh, I hope it's not going to all glitch out when I try and show these comments. Sometimes OBS does this. The word that I used, I thought it was an okay word because that was the word that they used in the clip of the movie. But Aboriginal Australians and Torres Strait Islanders prefer to be referred to as that. So that's my mistake. I apologise. I got that wrong, and I basically should have checked. So my apologies. First of all, get that one out of the way. That was definitely my bad. And thank you to everyone who brought me up on that. I'm hoping that hoping OBS is going to be okay and not glitch out too much with these comments. But what else do we have? Yeah, we had a few people who brought me up on that, quite rightly as well. So thank you very much. Thank you also to all the linguists who got in touch to tell me that the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis is a load of bollocks, that they don't like it. Yeah, thank you to all the people who brought me up on that. I mentioned the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis in the video, and some people got in touch and were like, hey, that's not a real thing. So thanks for the people who brought me up on that. What else did we have? Let's just go through some of these. Boom. I can go through these. Oh, okay. So Blah Blah had a really cool comment. They said they were concerned about like what happens when you build democracy on top of democracy. Like what happens when you've got a democracy, but then you've got like another body on top of that, like the EU or the UN. And there was originally going to be like a paragraph. There was originally a paragraph in the script where I talked about that, and it ended up getting cut because it didn't really fit anywhere. And having seen this comment from Bloody Blah, I regret cutting that because it would have been good. It's like an interesting idea. So I take it this person didn't like the video very much, but I'm still very grateful that they left this comment because it was a fair point. Evil Ninja Dude said that they wanted there to be like a business holiday so that people... So we talked about compulsory voting in the video, and this person said that they were keen on like other stuff, like having a holiday and having like free public transport on election day, which I thought was like a really cool idea. That's a fun one. What else do we have? Oh yeah, this one was good. Okay. So, Alfie Dring brought up the idea of what happens if you elect some... So I mentioned like what happens if you elect someone and then that they do something different from what they said they were going to do. And Alfie Dring brought up the Independent Group in the UK, which is a group of Labour and Tory MPs who recently split off and have tried to form their own... I don't think it's technically a party yet, but they're trying to form... It's like 12 or 15 people who are trying to form their own thing. And some people are like, well, you know, if I elected you as a Labour MP or as a Tory MP, then if you're now changing your affiliation, then we should have another election. We should have like a by-election, which, yeah, like if democracy is supposed to be about representing people, then like kind of makes sense. Unless your policies are exactly the same as they were before, in which case, why bother splintering off? But I think in order to have that discussion, the independent group would actually have to put forward some policies. No, it's a little harsh. They put forward some. I won't try and get too political, or too partisan at least. What else did we have? Some that I want to kind of get to a little later. Oh yeah, here's another minor linguistic point. Juliet Rainey brought up the fact that when I was talking about the dictatorship of the proletariat, I was talking about prisoners and criminals having the right to vote, and I conflated prisoners and criminals. There are in fact people in prison who are prisoners but who are not criminals, and there are of course plenty of criminals who are not prisoners. So that's just another like imprecision in the language that I'm sorry about that. That was my fault. Also, there was another bit which could have been slightly better. I talked at one point about a theorist called Stacey Clifford Simplicon and her idea that the way we currently do democracy can exclude some people with intellectual disabilities. And I got a long email from a fan of the show who is autistic with a lot of reading lists and recommendations for ways that I can improve how I talk about people with intellectual disabilities on the show. So some of the language I used was a little bit imprecise, and they also brought me up on the fact that I didn't place it in the context of the broader context of violence against intellectually disabled people. So thank you to the person who sent me that email. That's like another imprecision in the language, which is my fault, and I'm sorry about that. It's just another thing that I can do better. So thank you to the people who provide this constructive criticism, because it's really useful. That's really awesome. What else did we have? What did Five Andy's Alive say? Oh yeah, so Five Andy's Alive wanted to know, I mentioned in the video that the Leave campaign in the Brexit referendum committed electoral fraud and were fined. What they did was they used this firm, Aggregate IQ, this Canadian company, to gather people's Facebook data and then send them targeted political ads on Facebook with lies in them. And people were wondering, like, well, if that's the case, how come the referendum result is allowed to stand? And the reason for that is that the referendum actually was never legally binding in the first place. It was only ever supposed to be advisory, and the government doesn't technically have to do what the referendum result says. But of course, the wheels have now been set in motion, so that looks like they're gonna. Although apparently we might be delaying it now, so who knows? That's the reason that the referendum result wasn't automatically overturned by the fact that one side committed electoral fraud, is because in fact it was never legally binding in the first place. Had it been like an election where the result is guaranteed by law, then it would have been automatically overturned and we would have had to have a do-over. But technically, it was never legally binding in the first place. What else did we have? Oh yeah, quite a few Australians got in touch because I mentioned that they have compulsory voting in Australia, and quite a few got in contact to say that they liked it and that they supported the idea. However, one person, Vivian Boer, said that they didn't like it, and they had some interesting reasons. Kind of some of the arguments that I touched on from the philosopher Annabelle Lever, when she's like, well, protest isn't compulsory, but protest is part of democracy. If we're not comfortable making protest compulsory, which sounds like a weird idea, then the voluntary participation is part of it. Why would we make voting compulsory? And Vivian Boer was against it on similar grounds. They said that compulsory voting takes power away from those for whom engaging in voting is their way of redressing the system that wrongs them, whereas those who are relatively better off are less likely to bother to vote. And I see that point. I see how on paper that kind of makes good sense. However, I'm afraid the evidence isn't actually with you there, Vivian Boer. The papers that I read as research anyway, both from the pro-compulsory voting and compulsory voting camps, and anti-compulsory voting camps, all the papers, all the research I've done and read acknowledges the fact that it's actually those who are relatively better off in society who are more likely to vote. So compulsory voting would hopefully be a way of redressing the actual problem that you rightly identify there. Because it's actually those who as I say, are relatively better off, who are more likely to turn out and vote. What's this one? Just labelled 2 years. Oh yeah. I included that little clip at the start of what I looked like 2 years ago, and I have changed. It's been a hell of a 2 years. Some people on Twitter even got in touch to be like, your voice changed in those 2 years. I was like, yeah. It did. Drama school will do that to you. you will change. That's how it works. And how much hairspray did you use? None. There was no hairspray. It was all just a lot of gel to make that work. This was interesting. Nikki Ivy said that they were against compulsory voting. A box full of bats says you used to look like such a Tory. Somebody's asking how old am I? In that little clip of the video that I showed, from 2 years ago, I'm 23 in that. I'm not like 16. I'm 25 now, and in that I was 23. Somebody said puberty hit you like a freight train. No, I'd already gone through puberty. Like, it had already happened. I just went through like second, like puberty 2, the revengeance, when I went to drama school and just became what became who I am now. And as I say, my voice changed. Although I used to deliberately, in YouTube videos, make my voice higher. I used to deliberately talk at a higher register, supposedly because it's clearer, and it's like easier to understand, especially for people for whom English isn't a first language. And I think there's actually some truth to that. But at the same time, having gone through drama school after a while, I was just like, I'm just going to talk in my own voice from now on. So yeah, that's what I do. But yeah, it was a big change. So he says, Jesus, I thought you were in your 30s. No, I'm 25. I'm going to be 26 in April. People always freak out when I tell them that. Yeah, I'm 25. Okie dokie. There are a couple of comments I got that I was planning on going through, but perhaps given today's news, maybe let's not spotlight those. Although there's one in particular that I won't draw attention to, but there is one from this person who said, "What about the idea that people get voting rights after having gone through a military term of service?" I'm gonna be blunt with you here, commenter. I think that's absolutely morally abhorrent. I think that's absolutely horrific. I think the rationale, trying to understand where you're coming from with this. The rationale is that people would be more aware of the issues on the ground. You've gone through a military term of service, you know what it's like in a war zone. The idea is you're more able to make decisions about that. However, being aware of what it's like to be in a war zone is neither necessary nor sufficient for being able to make moral and political decisions about how, and indeed whether, that war zone should actually exist. In fact, I've met a lot of soldiers who know what it's like to be in a war zone, but who are not often totally clued into the issues about whether, the war zone should be there at all. So this person mentioned the novel Starship Troopers. I have not read the novel, but I think I'm right in saying that the novel doesn't have the same themes as the film adaptation. So Paul Verhoeven made a film out of Starship Troopers, and I think he put a twist on it, because I think the novel plays it straight. It's about this military society where you have to serve to vote. And I believe, I don't want to badmouth the author here, but I think I'm right in saying the novel plays it straight, whereas Verhoeven's film is if you build a society like this, it's fascism. And then it starts off you're in the society and you don't quite realize it, and then it gets gradually more and more weird until by the end you're like, oh god, these are fascists, and Neil Patrick Harris is there in an SS uniform, he's reading the alien's mind, and he's like, it's afraid, and everyone cheers because it's terrified for its life. And then it's oh god, and then you see it's Johnny Rico is the main character of Starship Troopers, and by the end of it you see him and he's just lost his mind. He's just like a killing machine. He's like, come on, do you want to live forever? And it's ooh, yikes. So gonna be honest with you here, commenter, that's one of the more morally abhorrent ideas I've ever featured on these live streams. Certainly not the most morally abhorrent comment I've ever got though, so don't stress too much. If you were just thinking aloud and didn't really think about it, then hey, don't worry too much. Pavarotti Aardvark had a bunch of cool comments actually, and one of them was that prisoners should have the vote, but because they live in quite concentrated areas and can be moved around, should there be an MP for prisoners? Because I mentioned in the video that prisoners in my country are not allowed to vote, and there's about 93,000 of them. I'll say something about that number in a minute. There's about 93,000 of them, which is slightly bigger than the average MP's constituency. So the idea Pavarotti Aardvark had was, why not make prisoners a constituency? They have a lot of interests in common. Why not? Interesting. On the one hand, I think it would be cool to see prisoners. So I didn't mention it in the video, but I do think prisoners should have the vote. So we're kind of like, okay, going from that position, this is something I agree with. On the one hand, I can see it would be cool to see prisoners elect their own MP and have like their interests and their issues represented in Parliament, when at the moment it's like not allowed, which is a shame, because I know that the prison conditions here are often like real bad. Like the HMP Pentonville isn't that far from me, and it's rough as hell apparently. Like even more so than okay, so people are saying the screen's a little glitchy. Let me just zap back to there. Sorry, that's my streaming software does that sometimes. It would be nice to see prisoners' issues represented in Parliament, and it would be nice to see them get the vote. On the other hand, it might reinforce the idea that prisoners' interests are like totally separate from ours. Whereas one of the arguments that I found most persuasive for getting prisoners to vote is the idea that actually, just because you're in prison doesn't mean that you're somehow enabled to, or don't have a stake in, making decisions about the future of the nation. Like, you can still make economic and political decisions just as well as if you weren't in prison. It might reinforce the idea of prisons, which is something that we may want to get curious about. So I can see there are like pros and cons to that one. Thank you very much to Pavarotti Aardvark for leaving that. It was really thought-provoking. They actually also left another comment, which I'll show you briefly, which is that if we had compulsory voting, then there should be an option to tick none of the above, which I think is a really good option. And in all the compulsory, like pro-compulsory voting literature that I read, they say we definitely want an option for none of the above. So at my old uni, when we used to have elections to the student union, there was an option which just said RON. And RON is reopen nominations, RON. The day redemption is spelt RON. RON. And you can vote for RON. And if RON wins the election, then you have to do the election again and you have to open nominations for more candidates. Which I think if we had compulsory voting on a national level, like there should be an option to vote for Ron, where like it's like saying I don't like any of these candidates, we need to have a do-over and like run again. And if Ron wins, then you have to like legally have to do it again, which is a cool idea. I think it's Annabelle Lever, actually, the philosopher I cited in the video, who's against mandatory voting, who says if you did that, like what happens if Ron comes in second and is therefore the official opposition? It's like, okay. So there's some contingencies we need to think about, like Ron 2020 says the chat. Yeah, Ron 2020. And they always had a different picture of Ron. Like sometimes it was Weasley, sometimes it was Swanson, sometimes it was anybody. So yeah, and there'd usually be a joke candidate running as well who'd be like, vote for Ron. Actually, whenever me and my friends play Cards Against Humanity, we always draw one card at random from the deck to give an answer, and we say that's Ron. So you have to be funnier than a randomly generated response. That's the benchmark of humour in Cards Against Humanity. And sometimes Ron wins, and we're all very disappointed in ourselves. Let me just. Oh yeah, here it is. This person said we should have a dictatorship of sexual perverts. Our last prime minister fucked a dead pig's head. So there's that. Just chucking that one out there. Allegedly fucked a dead pig's head. Got to cover my bases there, because I know David Cameron's a big fan of the show. I know we'll be watching. I had another one here somewhere. yeah, there's one comment I got that I was going to talk about, but perhaps given the news, it's best to not dwell on that one tonight. I had another one. Where's it gone? I love this music. Can you hear the music? Is it alright? It's nice. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This one was fun. This one, even as a negative comment, this one made me laugh. It made me laugh because this person was like, "There's no answers in this. Like, why don't you just tell me what you think?" And yeah, I just thought it was really funny because it's like somebody saying, "I hate having to think for myself. Like, why don't you just tell me straight up?" And I was like, that's not how it works. So I guess this is a good opportunity to talk about like why I did the video in the way I did, like splicing it in with not even a review, but like a discussion of the sci-fi film Arrival. So the video is about Brexit specifically, and how Brexit specifically and democracy generally requires us to consider other ways of looking at the world and coexist alongside them. And that can be weird and potentially scary. And I thought, okay, I could just make a video where I just say that, and it's like, hey, epistemic pluralism, it's a thing. And everyone would go, yes, epistemic pluralism, yes, it's very good. Or I was like, okay, why don't I make a video that is itself epistemically pluralist? Why don't I make a video where I'm not just saying, hey, democracy makes us do this thing, and that's potentially weird and odd. Or I could make a video that actually makes you do that thing as you watch it. That actually requires you to like simultaneously consider two very different ways of looking at the same thing. When I had that idea, I was like, ooh, there's something interesting in that. And I originally wasn't going to do a video about Brexit. And then I did I watched Arrival. I'd seen it years ago, but I watched it again, and I was like, ooh, there's something about this that needs to be in a Brexit video. So I started writing it, and then I wrote a version of it where I wrote like a second draft where I cut all the sci-fi stuff out, and I had this character called the Philosopher King who was saying, oh, democracy needs to end, and like it's clearly ridiculous and clearly silly, and you know we should just get rid of the whole thing. And then I was like, no, that's not as good. So I was like, this is too Nat. Like this character is. I was like, no, this isn't a video that I want to make. This is a video that I think Nat should make. I'm like writing a script for someone else. So I was like, okay, no, I cut that. So I cut that character. I had the costume ready and everything. And I was like, no. And then I went back to the idea of Arrival, and I was like, no, this needs to be in there. And it took a long time to make it work. And then I was like, okay, it's this does need to be in here because it forces you to do that epistemically pluralist thing. Like you have to have the two frameworks. So it's a little bit challenging, which I was a bit nervous about because I know some YouTube videos are like, it's just there for watching, you just stick it on. Whereas I was a bit nervous about making something that like requires you to pay attention and like, in fact, a friend of mine said this the other day to me. She was like, oh, I know you've got friends who make YouTube videos, and I tried watching this other YouTuber's videos, and I just looked away for 5 minutes and lost the whole thing. I was like, yeah. And I said, oh yeah, that's because me and my friends, we don't make videos that like, we don't always make videos that you can just stick on in the background. You kind of got, it's a video essay. You've like got to sit down and read it and like pay attention. She was like, oh yeah, I didn't kind of really get that. I thought you just made like content. I was like, nah. So I was a bit nervous about making a video that required the audience to do a little more, but it seems to have gone over well and people enjoyed it. That's why I spliced it with something. I knew I needed to be like two sides to it. As for why Arrival specifically, the movie is about that. Like that's what the film is about. It's about like how do we account for multiple ways of looking at the world whilst doing this huge complicated thing that really matters to people's lives. And I like the way that the film concludes by saying that, the only way to do it is to have a willingness to be trusting and to be vulnerable. And it's the only way we'll survive. So yeah, that's why I did it. Just want to say thanks to Annoyance and the mod team for doing their grand work. Thanks very much, appreciate it. Did I have any other notes to self or any other cool comments that I wanted to highlight? Let me just scroll through my notes here. No, we got all the ones from Pavarotti Aardvark. Okay, okie dokie. I think those might be all of the notes. So, oh no, there's one more. Yeah, there was one more. Let me just get that document back. There's one more about compulsory voting, which I wanted to touch on. Where did my notes go? Hey, thanks for that super chat, Coffee Frame. We're starting to get now towards the bit of the video where I can pay more attention to the chat and I'll answer questions and talk about stuff. Oh, I think I had a patron question as well. I did. So I needed to. Some of you might know that people who sponsor me at a certain level on Patreon can ask me questions. I'll answer them on the stream. So I got a question from Fox Can't, who says, now that LeftTube has some momentum and growing support, what are ways that supporters can take action in their own lives and communities to start bringing about change? So this is a really cool question, which I wish I could give a better answer to. But you're going to know your community better than I will, Fox can't, and everyone else. So I guess pay attention to the issues that are in your community that you care about and that you think you can help with. If there's a particular political party that you're down with, then hey, they always need help. They always need volunteers. There's always protests to go on, and there's always a cool thing that I quite like to do is go to not skill shares, but sometimes people put on thing that's a little bit like a skill share, where they'll just be hey, there'll be a little mini informal class that's hey, if you get stopped by the police and they want to search you, here's your rights. Here's how you can be prepared for that, and you practice it and you run through it, and you rehearse it. Yeah, there's little classes like that, little community classes, which might be fun. You could check that out if you were so inclined. I went to a cool one a while ago on stop and search, and they include, it's not just practical. It's hey, this is what stop and search the policy is. This is the law. This is the way they use it. This is the way they'll try and get around doing what their legal obligations are. There was a really cool one I went to, which is about hey, this is when you are and are not allowed to film the police. Which was really interesting. I can't remember the exact details of it now, but I remember at the time it being really cool. But yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was good. So yeah, thank you for that question from Foxconn. I guess you're gonna need to take a look at your own community. So I wanted to just touch on one more comment from Nikki Ivy, who said compulsory voting is a terrible idea. By not voting, people are voting. Their vote is I don't care. And I see where you're coming from. I think that interpreting not voting as I don't care either way, and therefore I just give my consent to whoever the winner is, I think is an error. Especially in countries where some people are what if you just can't get to the polls? You work and you miss it, or your boss asks you to stay late, and it's I think it's very dodgy to assume that somebody is consenting to a particular political outlook when they don't vote, or what if people are prevented from voting, or voter disenfranchisement, or just not out you it is illegal for you to vote, but it's just sort of discouraged. So I think it's pretty dodge to assume that just because people don't vote, they're okay with whatever happens. It might be that they really, really care about the issue, but none of the candidates represent them, which is an issue that I didn't have time to touch on in the video, but is absolutely on the money. So yeah, cool comment, but I'm not quite with you on there. All right. Okay. I think those are all the comments and all the notes to self that I had. So, I guess I should now say thanks to the people who are sending super chats. I'm sorry if I've missed any while we were doing that. So thank you to Sina Chini Farouche, who says, what are your thoughts on the relationship between democracy and nations since... this pen's running out. I don't have another one. You'll just have to try and read it. Since national policies are often... the effects are sometimes... What is it? Even the effect of national policies aren't always local. So I guess you mean that kind of like with Ireland and the border. Thanks. There's like a national vote that affects things on a local level. And I guess I kind of talked about that in the video. I don't really know. As I said, like with the Irish border thing, it's like, it is a kind of open question about whether it's fair to do that. You know, some people have got skin in the game, and certainly an anarchist critique of democracy would be might revolve around the idea that the one person one vote system is kind of inherently unfair if somebody's got a lot of skin in the game. So yeah, I really don't know. It's a good question. Meditating Jesus, thanks for your super chat, says a democratically centralized environmental anarchist party that builds communism. Do it. Easier said than done, I think, but yeah. All right, let's hang out for the rest of the night. Now that we've got the business. Okay. All right. Thank you to Daniel Haynock, who likes the short beard. I'm not a big fan of it personally. I just had to do it for an audition. Thoughts on the name Dave? I'm not a huge fan of Dave because I used to know a Dave at school, and he turned out to be a homophobe, so I don't talk to him anymore. I don't know any Daves at the moment, I don't think, so it's not my fave, but hey, it's your name if you're thinking about choosing one. Bubble Boy says, what are your thoughts on none of the above options on ballot papers? We talked about it earlier on. We already did that one. Feel free to go back. And Top at 2 says, you did a video on antinatalism. Wonder what your personal view was. I don't really have one, to be honest. Yeah, I haven't thought about it pretty much since I made that video, so... Well, this is a cool one from King's Old. He says, what are your thoughts on compulsory voting affecting the choices that get proposed in a first-past-the-post system? Like, you're more interested in just being not as bad as the alternative. What? So I guess the idea is that, like, if everyone has to vote, then politicians aren't gonna try. They're just gonna be like, well, you know, at least I ain't that guy, right? Yeah, I see the point. Oh, hey, sorry to Dave, as in Bad Mouse. Fair enough, sorry. Dave's a good Dave. Bad Mouse Dave is good Dave. Yeah, he's a good Dave. He's the second Dave I've ever known. So thank you to people who brought me up on that. I just think of him as Bad Mouse, so... so I guess the challenge is, like, if there was compulsory voting, politicians aren't going to, like, try. They're just going to be like, yeah, well, I'm a chud, but I'm not, like, super chud. How would that be different than what we have now? Like, maybe you're right. But I'm still willing to give it a go. I'd be interested to see what happened. Cheers. If you've joined us since the beginning, I don't usually drink on stream, or I don't usually drink all that much at all. I'm kind of more or less off the booze at the moment. But I'm celebrating because my legal name change came through like 2 hours ago, so I got myself a brand new passport, and it's purple. So even if we do have to go with blue ones after Brexit, I'm gonna have a maroon passport till 2029, baby. Hey. Thank you to Jonathan Menegali. Says, take some of my money for your awesome content and soothing voice. Thanks, Jonathan. That's awesome. And Scalator Man says, did you change your name to Philosophy Tube? No, man, I didn't. But hey, the next video is that one you've been waiting for. The super technical meta ethics video is built into the next video. The next video is the working title is Jordan Peterson versus the Forces of Evil. People have been sending me gifs from a show called Star versus the Forces of Evil, which I've never seen and has nothing to do with it, so I might need to change that title to avoid misleading people. But yeah, the next video is it's like pretty about Peterson, but it's actually like it's like quite a technical episode about meta ethics. So So there's like two camps of people, two small and vocal camps of people who are always in my comments, who are either like, I love the like theatre and the aesthetics, do more, or the people who are like, I hate this, like the person whose comment we looked at earlier, the people like, I hate this, like just raw, just uncut philosophy, just stand in front of a bookshelf and talk at me like it's 2015, and because I hate production value. No, I'm being harsh. Some people have different learning styles, and as I get more creative and feel more able to get more creative, some people are like, I kind of responded better to the old stuff, and okay, fair. But this video is going to piss off everyone because the next one that's coming out is going to be it's the biggest one in terms of like production value and like. Not production value, but like in terms of the show. It's like a big show. There's like a big musical number. Like the costumes are amazing. The makeup is amazing. I've got like somebody helping me on the makeup, which is really cool. Yeah, it's going to be a huge show, but it's also going to be this incredibly technical. Like there's some meta-ethics, there's some ontology, there's some epistemology. Scaladro Man, you're going to love it. There's actually like 3 big paragraphs which are about meta-ethics, I'm considering cutting, Scaladro Man, because I was looking at the script today and I was like, that section's a little draggy. Some people are going to drop out at that point, but I was like, Scaladro Man would want them to be in there, so I'll see. We shall see. I think there's some super chats I might have missed, so apologies to that. Philosophy of Homestuck, never seen it. What about having weekday, like a polls open for a week? Maybe, could be a good idea. Have I read Conspiracy Against the Human Race? No, afraid not. Have I read Thomas Paine? Some a long time ago. Hey! Hunter Leaf is drinking to celebrate making an appointment to start HRT. Cheers. Cheers, Hunter. That's awesome. Congratulations. What are your opinions on choosing representatives via lottery? I guess you want volunteers though, right? Yeah. How can you be anti-austerity / capitalist and therefore Eurosceptic without inadvertently giving support to the far right? I guess you got to be careful how you do it. Yeah. Pick your moment. I think I'm not really comfortable saying anything beyond that. And David S. finally got an appointment set to start HRT, and somebody arsoned the Planned Parenthood the day before. Sorry, that sucks. But that is like not in your control. Like, that sucks, I'm sorry. But I'm glad that we can help you relax. Yeah. But yeah, the next video, the Jordan Peterson one, is gonna be a hell of a show. The song is gonna be great. I'm really looking forward to it. Miles asks, did you study philosophy? Yes, I did. I got an MA from St Andrews. Somebody says, have you read Bookchin? No. Yes. A little bit. A tiny bit. But not in huge detail. George Fairweather says, hey, Ollie, was the suit you wore in the Brexit video the same one you wore in Why Does Britain Still Have a Monarchy? Yes, it is. Very deliberately. I destroyed that suit, and now I only have one suit, and it's my flatmate's and doesn't fit me. So I need to get a new suit. Brian Becker says, maybe apathy for voting is because society isn't really democratic day today. People don't have democracy in the workplace. Yeah, maybe. I kind of mentioned that in the video. Somebody said, what's the wine? Already mentioned it at the start. It's a Pinot Noir from Marlborough. It's like supermarket wine. I decided to get at the last minute. Yeah. So are you going to call Peterson daddy? No. I don't call people daddy. People call me that. That's how it works. No, I'm not going to. I'm actually, the current draft of the script, like, is pretty. I mean, people want me to just dunk on it, like dunk on Jordan Peterson, just like, oh my god, like dunk on it. The current draft of the video is actually pretty, like, takes him seriously, and is like, okay, here's what he says. Here's like why that's interesting. Here's like the philosophy take on that. So at the moment, I haven't finished writing it. There's some like jokes and stuff, and it's like fun, and you'll see the costume and the characters. But there's more. There's all kinds of cool stuff. But at the moment, in terms of content, it's takes him pretty seriously, and like tries to do like good faith engagement insofar as it's possible. Have I ever checked out the game Everything? No, I have not. I'm on Breath of the Wild, and that's the only game I have time for at the moment. Do I have a US presidential Democratic candidate that I especially like? Afraid not. I haven't really been following it all that much. I get all my American political content either from my American friends or from the podcast Ballin' Out Super, which is America's #1 leftist anime podcast, which I just listen to in the gym. Is there going to be live commentary on Zizek v. Peterson? No, I'm not even going to watch it. Like, no. Yeah, some people in the chat say you shouldn't take Peterson seriously. You just kind of bash him or like pour milk on him until he goes away, I guess. Maybe that's the right approach. I don't know. We'll see. But he nevertheless, I obviously like read and watched a lot of Jordan Peterson to research this video. So I wanted to like do it justice. Be like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to do it the Ollie way, which is you try and be like sincere and serious. And he obviously takes it very seriously. He's got this sincerity which is kind of contagious. I see a lot of people who are keen on him. Because if you're very obviously not taking him seriously, then I guess the people who really believe in him are like, well, why should I take you seriously? Some of them might be like, oh yeah, maybe this is silly and I shouldn't take it seriously all that much. But for some, I'm trying to reach the people who are like true believers, I guess. Because other people just like dunk on Peterson, and fair enough. But there's like some people who like really like, and I've met people who I wouldn't expect who are big Jordan Peterson fans. There was a guy who went to my drama school who's in my year. We were at a wedding, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm thinking about doing this like video on Jordan Peterson. He was like, oh yeah, I love that guy. And I was like, what? Like, why do you like? What you like big lefty went to drama school? Like, why do you? And I met this young actor who again like big lefty was like, oh yeah, I think Peterson's like the best writer ever. I was like, what? Why? And I kind of got really curious about why that is, and not in the kind of, so Angie Speaks did a video ages ago about like what his appeal is. So it's kind of less about the like trying to psychologize him, more about like these are the arguments he makes, and like this is where they're kind of going right and this is where they're kind of going wrong. Like even trying to take it even more seriously than I did with Bannon. So yeah, I'm trying to do that. Milo says, hey, Philosophy Daddy, celebrating my birthday and the fact that my state passed Medicaid coverage for gender-affirming surgeries. Nice. Happy birthday. Ambiguous Tether, how do you feel about a person's duty to be aware of and intervene in abuse happening behind closed doors, i.e. in marginalised communities, i.e. the kink scene? I appreciate you asking. I think for personal reasons I'm going to decline to answer that one. It's a little close to home, I'm afraid. Becca M says, your streams always boost my mental health and I really needed that today. Thanks, Becca. Any existentialist reading recommendations? He's not an existentialist, but Camus is good. Close to existentialism, but not quite. Gorm the Elder says, Google book chin. So I guess Gorm the Elder is what Tabby's screen name is now. And Evie Ray says, love your perspective and your voice. Oh, glad. Yeah, somebody said to me last night that I had a really nice voice in a kind of sort of very friendly context. And I was like, oh, I'm glad you say that. Like, appreciate it. I did an audiobook a while ago. And, if you want to hear me read you a book, you can. Brady Hawkins says, discovered you through H-Bomb. Wanted to say your Brexit video is one of my new top favourite videos on YouTube. Oh, I'm really glad. I'm glad you say that, Brady. Thanks a lot. I was actually a little iffy on it. When it came out, I was like, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure it's my best. I was pretty proud of it. But it was also like quite laboured. The script took a lot of goes. It took me a lot longer to get the script for the Brexit video than it usually does. It went through a lot of iterations. So, yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I worked hard on it and tried to challenge myself with it. And it was kind of like a pretty laboured delivery. So, whereas the Jordan Peterson one is like sort of middle of the road in terms of difficulty making it, in terms of writing it anyway. Actually, some of the difficulty of the production value is like I've done like 3 or 4 days of makeup practice, and I haven't quite yet got down the look I want. But I think I've got think I figured out why I need to do another day of makeup practice tomorrow. My skin is like screaming. Like under this makeup now that I'm wearing, I'm like so red, and I'm gonna get like break out. But I need to get this look right. I need to practice, and I need to rehearse the song, and I need to. I have successfully. I can't spoil it, but yeah, there's something else in the video. There's some other things in the video which are gonna be like amazing. Yeah. Will we ever see a bloopers video? Oh yeah, my patrons get to see the bloopers. There's a blooper reel for the Steve Bannon video, and there's a blooper reel for the Brexit video, and my patrons can see both of those. Have you ever played D&D, Ollie? Says Jeffrey Hogue. Yeah, I did once, but we were just all really drunk, so we just broke all the rules. The poor DM was was furious. Sadie Lady says, Zaddy, can you do the Jordan Peterson voice? I can, but I'm not going to do it now. You'll have to watch the video. I've been practicing my Jordan Peterson. Yeah, I'm really excited about this video. I'm really excited about the song. Yeah. Crazy Wool Lady says, do you know about putting primer under your makeup? Yeah, I do. But when you do like 2 or 3 full faces of makeup, like one after the other in a day, like wiping it off and putting it all back on again to practice, you're like, my skin's a bit like, enough. Schmo101 says, in your art and reality video, you mentioned you took multiple takes to do your video on suicide for the emotional bits. In how many of those takes did you cry? I can't remember, man. I didn't note it down. Most of them. Hermanum says, any further ideas for Cosmonaut Part 2? I've got a few. It's very difficult to write for reasons that I'm sure you can appreciate. So I try and, whenever I get like inspired, I try and just add a little bit, just maybe like a paragraph or just a few lines at a time. So we'll see. Yeah. But yeah, I'm working on it, don't worry. Ooh. Remember to moisturize. Yes, please. Can you do the Dragon Ball Z voice? Not right now. It hurts my throat. M7 says, I recommend oil cleansers to take off makeup. Yeah, I use coconut oil. It's good stuff. There we go. Nice. Somebody wants to know what the book is called. What book? And Sean Westall says, happy Friday, why aren't you at Spoons? Because I was out late last night, so I just wanted to have a chill one in this evening. I went to the theatre last night. I went to see the musical Six, which is about the 6 wives of Henry VIII. Basically, it's like somebody wrote a historical Tudor musical, and that somebody was Kim Petras. And like Natalie did all the costumes and the lighting. It's as if that, she didn't really. But yeah, it was amazing. It was like an amazing musical. It was brilliant. Hey, Zoe Blade, welcome along. No, you didn't miss all that much. We went through some comments, and now we're just having a chill time. Oh, what's the book I read? The audiobook I did. The audiobook is called Broadcast by Liam Brown, and it is about it's about a YouTuber who makes a Faustian pact with a tech billionaire to have all of his thoughts streamed through the internet. And yeah, I think it's on Audible, so you can. It was like a professional voice acting job I did. I did this audiobook about a YouTuber, and I asked them, did you know I was a YouTuber when you hired me? And they were like, nope, just coincidence. I was like, all right, cool. So yeah, you can hear me read you a book if you like. Yeah, welcome along, Zoe. Haven't missed all that much. I'm just having a cheeky drink to celebrate my name change came through. I think you missed an early super chat, but no worries, says Luke Greenford. How can you protest fascism when you're hundreds of miles from the nearest city and poor? Have a protest where you are, I guess. Find ways of challenging it in your community if it's there, I suppose. And Mark says, keep up the good fight, comrade. Cheers, Mark. Thanks a lot. Zoe says, let me drag Nina in here. She's busy working on your next song. Yeah, we've been talking about the song. I'm excited for it. I went to karaoke the other night and tried to sing it. And I was like, ooh, it's kind of high. So I'm going to need to warm up very thoroughly and practice or do it down the octave. Hey, to Things, welcome along. Things are looking up, have a tip. Wanted to know what's the coloured lighting system you use, and is your PO box still the same address as before? Yes it is, don't worry. Oh, thanks for reminding me to Things. We've got some letters. You've just reminded me, nice man. And the lights I use are called LIFX, LIFX, and you can control them from your phone. Alan Rogers says, what are your opinions on other leftist podcasts or shows such as Chapo and the Michael Brooks Show? Never heard of Michael Brooks, so I'm afraid that's my ignorance. I've listened to the Chapo that Nat was on. I haven't gotten hugely into it other than that, because it's very American and I sometimes don't know what they're referencing. Yeah. And Side Martin says, how do you manage to stay hopeful and positive when everything seems to be going to shit? P.S. Love your videos and you're also very pretty. I don't. I don't, Side. I get sad like everyone, you know. Yeah, I feel like I had like a rough 48 hours. I was feeling really, really rotten about myself and the whole world. And then went to the gym and was like, oh, yeah, now I feel better. And then got my new passport, so, yeah. Hawkeye. We've got some letters. Hey! Some Platypie says, I'm new here and a $30 patron. Love your work. Cool, thanks. So we've got some quick letters. One is from Gwen in Norway. Thanks, Gwen. I've already read it, and I won't read it out because it's pretty personal. But thank you very much. Rachel Solar says, you mentioned someone helping you in your upcoming videos. Do you usually have help or a crew? I've got Tim and Ben who do the camera stuff and let me use their studio. And Zoe and Nina do my music. And I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. Yeah. This video coming up, there's two people who are going to get special thanks. One is my makeup and nails consultant, who's like not really a professional. I haven't hired them, but they have given me a lot of advice. And also somebody else who's providing me with some materials which I can't spoil. But yeah, I get help sometimes. Okay, we've got another little letter here. Okie dokie. If I miss any super chats whilst we're reading things, then Aidan King says, hey, I'm a linguist. You're a Geordie, but you have no trace of the accent. Could you care to explain why this is? Because my parents weren't Geordie, so it wasn't spoken at home. Okay. Dear Ollie, I'm writing to you because just making sure there's nothing on the back of this that you don't need to see. Yeah. Because I like writing letters. I love something. Oh, writing letters. And I don't have anyone to write to, but you're someone people send letters to. I grew up far away from my family and could not do phone calls, so this has become my thing. Please don't read this bit out. I couldn't even if I wanted to, Mel. Handwriting is difficult for me. Ah, it's a cosmonaut letter. Take care, Mel. Thank you, Mel. Thanks very much. P.S. Strange, I know, but I want everyone to remember that something were a thing. So there is a something I made for you. They've made this, and I can't read the word. Everyone to remember that. Sorry about the awkward folding. This paper is wider than my envelope. Yeah, so if anyone knows what this is, please tell me. Thank you very much, Mel. What is that? To remember that. I have no idea. At the very least, I can use it as a bookmark. So thank you, Mel. Okay, we've got a couple more. I hope I haven't missed any. Scoobies. What's a Scooby? I can't hold that bit up because it's got stuff written on it that they don't want read out. What's a Scooby? Oh, they're a knitting trend in the 90s. Okay. This one's from Glasgow. Illegible gang. This is quite a long letter. Okie dokie. Ooh, sorry. Dear Ollie, hello from Scotland's best city, Glasgow. Hope everything's going well in your world. My name's Hayden, they, them, and I'm your average disabled transgender high school, college, evening course dropout. Had my heart set on going to uni until a little while ago. Sometimes engaging with leftist spaces as a queer person who's affected by misogyny is quite intimidating if you're not from an educated background. Okay. I won't read all of this out because it's quite personal. Have you read much of John McLean's stuff? No, I haven't. As far as I'm... I could go on about his politics, I won't, but he's a figure of pride on the Scottish left. The only John McLean I know is Die Hard. Okay. A risk of sounding super wishy-washy, I think LeftTube is almost like the spiritual successor to that kind of energy, especially with the whole idea of giving away a degree online. Oh, cool. I know a lot of philosophy students watch your show to study, but I imagine that most of the people engaged in this kind of content won't be in uni or close to it. It'll be the people slaving 40 to 60-hour-week jobs, the not fit for work, the dropouts, the folk who can't engage with academia due to barriers relating to class, race, gender, and sexuality. Good. This is exactly the people I want to be able to see the show. For a lot of us, it's super easy to start feeling like you don't have a place in the class struggle and that you should just keep your mouth shut till you're informed, even though most of us might never get to the level that's asked from us without some kind of redistribution. Well put. More than making it easy to engage, the kind of information sharing you do inevitably takes the ideological stance that politics isn't just for people with fancy degrees, and as weird as it sounds, most of us go a lifetime without coming across that idea. So whether you feel comfortable taking credit for that or not, you're still one of the coolest teachers I've ever had. From Hayden. Cheers, Hayden. I'm glad you said that. Thanks a lot. Thanks for those super chats. Somebody says, what's your favourite anti-fascist quote? I quite like Hitler's dead, you can go home now. That's a funny one. Nice. I don't think I have a favourite. The Gerkman says, love your new style. Is it bad that I prefer your older ones? No. It's not bad at all. You're going to like this next video then. I'm not going to spoil anything, but you're going to like it. And Zoe B says, should we have an age requirement for voting? I assume you mean lower rather than like an upper limit. I assume you don't mean like people over 60 shouldn't vote. Yeah, I don't know. If we're not going to change anything else, then like, yeah, because my niece is 1.5 and like she can't vote. Like, she can't even talk. So if you're not going to change anything else about society, then I think that like just allowing like 4-year-olds to vote, probably not. I don't know if it would be super productive. Although, you know, maybe there'd be like another way of doing it. But if you, if you weren't to change anything else, then that is nice, but I shouldn't have any more. Otherwise, we're gonna get real forbidden stream up in here, and also I need to watch how much booze I drink these days. Okay. We've got one more letter. It's from Alana in Australia. Cool. It's got a real cool stamp on it there. It's nice, isn't it? Okay, this is another quite a long one. Dear Ollie, hey there, my parasocial buddy. Wanted to write you to say just how much your videos mean to me. Having a tough time, and listening to you helps so much. You spoke about all the things I feel without just shuffling any of it aside as illogical and unworthy of consideration. Of course not. Without playing into the ideation. Okay, maybe I won't read all of this bit out. Oh, that is darkly funny. Okay, I definitely can't read that out, but I appreciate why. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. There was nothing I could do without even being unwell. Couldn't do that well enough. It's quite powerful. I just started a book club with some of my friends. We're doing philosophy books. I'm primarily a theatre geek, so your videos have helped me get more into the philosophy side. Might I just say, Kierkegaard is a bit of a wanker, if I'm honest. Fair, although Kierkegaard's Madman is like that's a hell of a thought experiment. If you don't know Kierkegaard's Madman, look it up, it's great. Maybe we'll talk about it in a second. Thank you for being around. I really wanted to know you've helped me. From Alana Slewinski. Thanks very much, Alana, in Australia. That's awesome. Good to have you here. Thank you very much for all of those letters, everybody. There's a few super chats coming in. Ollie, have you ever played Dungeons & Dragons? You're the second person to ask that tonight. Once I was really drunk. Philosophy literature recommendations for a beginner. I get that question 5 times a day. Just got to go with what you're interested in. And Nicholas Whitman says, solidarity to our Muslim comrades. Yes. Okie dokie. So we've been here just over an hour. Probably do another 10, 15 minutes, and then I'm going to probably have a cup of tea and make a phone call. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Kierkegaard. So, if you're not aware of Kierkegaard's Madman, hang on a second. Just changing the tunes. Hang on one second. Nice, that was it. Kierkegaard's Madman. So Kierkegaard has this thought experiment of a lunatic who escapes from an asylum and makes his way into the local town, and he knows that if he just starts saying mad shit, then they're going to lock him up again. So he decides to only say completely true, uncontroversial things. Right? He's like, that's how people are going to think I'm saying, because I'm only going to speak the truth. So he says the world is round, and to everybody he meets, he goes up to them and he's like, "Hey, the world is round," and they're like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Yeah, the world is round." It's like, "Okay, yeah," and he just keeps saying it to everyone, no matter all the time. Like, it's the only thing he says to everyone. He like walks into the bar and he's like, "The world is round," and the guy's like, "Yeah, what do you want a drink?" He's like, "Yeah, the world's round." It's like, "Yeah, okay," and they quickly realize he's a madman and they lock him up. And Kierkegaard's point is that, like, you can say true, uncontroversial things, but it's like the context is kind of what matters. Which is, why Neil deGrasse Tyson's an incredibly boring man. But yeah. Hey, Birdkeeper Toby's in the chat as well. Welcome along, Toby. Good to have you here, man. I'm probably going to stick around for another 10, 15 minutes. And then I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and get nearly night tonight. I was up late. Hello from Dallas, Texas. Hey, one true anthemist. Cheeky, but glad to have you here. Somebody says, "Hey Ollie, I'm planning to send you some stuff from here in Hawaii." Whoa! Was wondering if you drink coffee from Rhiannon's Self. I don't drink coffee, I'm afraid. I used to, and I gave it up when I was about 16 because a girl I had a crush on at the time told me that it stains your teeth. So I'm only on the tea. That's the tea. So sorry, I'm not a big coffee drinker. Occasionally, if I want to treat myself, then I'll get like a mocha. Yeah. Dallas salad. That's a reference to not the things. Sorry, Luke, I got that wrong. Last time I mentioned it, it's a reference to like Durham Rocker Z, I think. It was a YouTube people that I like. Yeah. All right. This has been a really chill stream. I'm glad we can have it be cool. Tea recommendations. I'm on a Lady Grey. I'm on a Lady Grey all the time. Lady Grey till I die. Unless it's an Earl. When I go home, I have Earl because it's supposed to be made with the water from Northumberland. So when I go home to Northumberland, I drink Earl Grey. And when I travel abroad, I bring tea with me because when I go to America, I always bring tea because they can't get good tea there. I remember when I went to VidCon last year, I was on like a quest to get good tea. I couldn't do it. Like I tried so hard to get some nice tea. I'm really looking forward to VidCon again this year. It should be really awesome. It's gonna be good fun. It was fun. Jacob said was a bit confused by the Brexit video in which you seemed to indicate that the dictatorship of the proletariat was about incentivising the rich to give up the means of production rather than immediately seizing them. I certainly didn't try and do that deliberately. Yeah, sorry, don't quite know how you got that feel. Are you familiar with any Japanese philosophers, and if so, who or what? Oh yes, there's a Japanese metaphysician called... His surname's Yagasawa, I think. It's Yagasawa or Yakisawa, I can't remember, it's been a long time since I read him. But it's like a metaphysician talks about, he thinks all objects are like 5D time worms. It's like a really off-the-wall theory. It's the only reason I remember it. But yeah. Audible Anarchist says, Philosophy Tube, aren't you a Chinese gunpowder drinker? No, I mean, I'll drink it if it's going. I like a bit of Lapsang Souchong occasionally as well. It's a nice little smoky tea. I kind of want more wine, but I know I shouldn't. Just changing the music. Well, I'm trying to. Oh well. Ollie, what do you think of Wittgenstein? Doing my dissertation on him. What did you do your dissertation on? Haven't read a whole lot of Wittgenstein. What I have read I thought was kind of cool. What did I do my dissertation on? I didn't do one. I was able to choose modules that went around it, so I didn't end up writing one. I just did more philosophy instead. I wanted to read more widely. Does Ollie have a book list? Usually I do. I have an Amazon wish list which has like books and all kinds of stuff on it, but at the moment it's empty because I've kind of got what I need at the moment, and I didn't want to just put stuff up there as like presents for me. It felt a little selfish, so for the moment I'm good. Yeah. I'm not going to let the chat pressure me into drinking, okay? My diet's been really good the last month. I've lost like a fair bit of weight. I've lost like quite a few kilos of body fat, so I'm gonna be good. Owl Pip says, thanks for being the only man I have a crush on. Yeah, I saw somebody say a while ago that they were a bisexual man, and that means that they fancy Ollie from Philosophy Tube and every woman. And I was like, that's funny. Liam Joseph says, what ideology specifically do you subscribe to? Good times ideology. No, yeah. If I did, I wouldn't tell you. Like, it would just be a bad idea. Somebody says, Ollie, you need to treat yourself. I have treated myself today. I had a nice protein bar earlier on. That was my treat for the day. And I already had a little bit of wine, so that's my treat. I've already eaten my dinner. Don't worry. I had a nice like roast chicken and veg. Like I had to chop up a bunch of chicken and veg and like roast it all and have a bit of tahini, a bit of coriander, a bit of lemon zest with it. I love my cooking, and I love cooking for people as well, which is a shame because I don't often get to do it. Yeah. Niall Sulser or Sulker says, my study abroad application to London was accepted. Love to see you and or Harry there if it works out. Yeah, I like doing meetups. I prefer doing meetups with someone else. It works better when there's two of you because somebody can like keep the kind of the fires burning while somebody else is like calling ahead to the pub to say, hey, have you got room for 100 people or whatever. So yeah, I imagine I'm going to be at VidCon again this year, and I imagine there'll be meetups and stuff to be done there. So Rose H, thank you for your super chat. Thanks. Says, Ollie, as somebody who finds the chat a bit overwhelming, how do you deal with the messages? Is it stressful? Keep up the work, look after yourself. A little bit, but like you get used to it. For me, I think the ideal number of people for a live stream is like 500. For me, any more than that, and it's like a bit intense, but you get used to it. How does one go about finding local anti-fascist groups? Well, I appreciate the super chat, but nice try, officer. I'm not going to tell you. And Logan St. James says, do you ever think of remaking your old videos? Not really, not directly, like just not one for one. Sometimes old ideas come back. And hey, Elliot Sang's in the chat. Thanks, Elliot. Can't wait to publish the article. So let me tell you this. Let me tell you this story to the chat. Elliot Sang is an extremely hardworking and very lovely and very talented writer, journalist, who very kindly interviewed me over several days and has written a lovely profile of me, which is very kind of them. Very kind of him to do that. I've not read it, but I assume it's positive. He seemed to be from the chats we had. Unfortunately, Elliot's editor got laid off, and the piece is currently looking for a home. So if any of you are journalists, or journalists who would be interested in publishing a profile of me, I'm not really overly fussed about the exposure, because I can make a video and reach more people than an article typically can. But I'd like to see Elliot get paid because he worked hard on it. So if you know any journalists or any publications, if you happen to work at the fucking Guardian, for instance, and you want to publish a thing on me, get in touch with Elliot on Twitter. I retweeted him. So Birdkeeper Toby says, do you want to join in on my birthday gathering on Sunday the 14th of April? Ooh, I'm tempted. I don't know where I'm going to be in April. So you, Toby, I'm being careful here not to say things that I shouldn't. You know where else I might be, and I don't know whether I'm going to be there or not, or when exactly. I don't know where I'm going to be on my birthday, so we'll see. Maybe. Message me. I probably can't talk about it here. Okay. All right. They'll probably hang out for another 5 minutes and then head out, which probably means that it's time to put on the music that we like to end the stream with. Dun, 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 dun. Found out Ollie and I have the same birthday a bit ago, and it's kind of weird but cool, says Rizzy Pieces. Yeah, I'm looking forward to my birthday this year. It's going to be good. I'm going to be turning 26, officially in the latter half of my 20s, and I've still been doing YouTube for my entire 20s. I've been doing almost 6 years, so yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should fingers crossed, be a fun birthday this year. Last year was a bit of a bust. Any thoughts on Rose Bruford College? Yeah, I got rejected from there. I auditioned and got rejected. Hey, Doorhanger93 says, Ollie, I have to thank you for purging the last vestiges of transphobia from my centrist days and finally convincing me that I'm a bottom, Daddy. Glad to hear it. Okie dokie. My internet is struggling to load up the music that we like to end the stream on, which, if you aren't familiar with it, is Zoe Blade's songs Hello Calm and Walking in the Rain. And it's loading, and I think I am both streaming and my flatmate is using the internet, so the internet is there's a lot of bandwidth being pumped through the pipes, so the internet's a little slow. I will do my best for you and try and load it up on my phone as well. Oh, some people say they like the transphobia video. I'm really glad I worked hard on it. I'm really glad it worked out for you. Zoe Blade. Hello, calm. Here it is. For some reason it's going a lot faster on my phone than it is on my computer. My laptop's a little slow. It's getting a little long in the tooth. I'll plug you into my phone instead. Right. Well, this should be playing. Yes, it is. Fantastic. Caleb Romo, thank you for that super chat. Says favorite Contra character. Don't have one. Don't have one. Much prefer the artist. And here's a thought fitting your latest amazing video. The German word for vote. I won't try and pronounce it, but it's similar to voice. Interesting. Nice. Okay. We are now into the final few minutes of the chat. Of the stream. Yeah. Welcome. Thank you very much to the mod team for all your fine work tonight, as per. Yeah. And cheers. Thanks everyone for coming along. It's been a good one. It's been another fun one. Thank you for all the wonderful feedback on the Brexit video, including the constructive stuff and the criticism. Yeah. That was nice. Helps make the show better. So, yeah, it's fun. Hey, welcome all to all the people just joining us in the last, 2 minutes. Sorry. Somebody says, I hope you sleep well. Yeah, I hope I will too. I was out late last night. I was very tired. Up early and out late. Had a big audition in the morning and then a big event in the evening. So, yeah, it was good fun. Nice. This is really cool. It's really chill. It's always nice to do a little bit of a stream on a Friday night, because it's always like a weird energy on a Friday night, because it's all the people who aren't going out, including me. So it's always like a nice energy. Ali Doak says, thanks so much for this bubble of calm on a horrible day. You're welcome, Ali. And Sleeping Pliskin says, hello Ollie, new sub here. Oh, sorry, I misread that. Found you when Brexit was trending. Been enjoying your other videos as well. Thanks for great content. No worries. Thanks. I assume you meant subscriber. Sorry, that's my brain. Somebody says your hair. What? Yeah, I just had a bit of a haircut. Also, it's a little wet because I just had a shower earlier on when I got back from the gym. We're all subs here, says Dirk Spacefear. Awesome. Okay, let me put on the final song that we like to end on. And it is Zoe Blades, Walking in the Rain. Nice. Somebody says, I heard you studied at St Andrews. Did you like it there? Yeah, I did. Really good brownies from Taste on North Street if you're in St Andrews. I was there just a while ago. Thank you to Benjamin Morrison for that super chat as well. Cheers Benjamin. I was in St Andrews a while ago. Went back to my old Stabco on South Street where I used to go and get pints. The St Andrews Brewing Company, Stabco. That was nice. And I tried to get a brownie from Taste, but the queue was too long and they only take cash. Bloody hipster cafes. It was good. Walked along, took some nice photos on the pier. It was nice. It was a good holiday. Somebody says, "Don't leave. Think about the parasocial relationships." No, I've got to have like a social relationship. I've got to go to a social relationship and a cup of tea and a little bit of a sleepy too. So, yeah, Hey, first time watching live, says Cherry Dubear. Oh, cool, I'm glad. Yeah, I always like it when people turn up to the first stream, because it's always a bit of a different beast than the show itself. I like to keep it chill and keep it cool, so I hope you enjoyed it. It's good fun. Rose H says, I had a bake sale at work today. Gonna blow my own trumpet and say my brownies are better. Nah. The vegan brownies from Taste on North Street in St Andrews are the best. Are the best brownies in the world. Although you do have to pay in cash and you do have to queue for like 20 minutes because there's like a tiny, tiny little cafe and it's always really popular. So I really appreciate the people who went and watched Arrival, as like they paused my video and went and watched like a 2-hour film with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner just to see my video. I'm like, I appreciate that. The thing says, are we still allowed to call you Ollie? Yeah, definitely. My legal name change came through, but Oliver's still my first name. So yeah, please do call me. Hey, please do call me Ollie. Hey, I just got a nice message. Okie dokie. Let me just finishing a stream. Fancy a call? All right. I think it's time for me to go. So, hey, and just got some good news. Awesome. Okay, everyone. I'm gonna say good night. Have a lovely, lovely evening, day, morning, wherever you may be, and I will see you on the internet. No, I'm not going to spoil it. All right, have a